Let's look at finding a confidence interval for the mean when the population standard deviation sigma is unknown using a TI-Nspire. For example, construct a 95% confidence interval for the mean number of pets in the households of college students. Suppose that a sample of size 47 students yields these values. First student has 1 pet, second student has 1 pet, third student has no pets, etc. So 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, blah, blah, blah. I did not make up these values. Rather, these are the values I obtained from my students when I surveyed them in class. We have way more than that. We have 7 pets. So we have 4 cats. There's Moose, Bean, Cupcake, Pumpkin. And we have 3 chickens. Sunny, Mei Li, it's a Chinese breed, silky, very fluffy, and Priscilla. So here's how we do it on the TI-Nspire. Scroll down to the Lists and Spreadsheets icon and press Enter. This is what you'll see. So then enter that data in the first column. In other words, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, blah, 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 blah. Then press the menu button and choose Statistics, Confidence Intervals, T-interval, and then you have to choose between data and stats. Here we have the raw data, so we're just going to choose data and press OK. So when we do that, here's what we end up with. Under list, all of our data are in the first column. So that's list A. So just enter A, left bracket, right back bracket. Frequency list is 1. That's because if you had a frequency chart, in other words, if you had values on one side, and then in the next column, you had the number of times you saw those values. In other words, if you had a frequency chart, then you would put that second column here. But we don't have a frequency chart. We just have a bunch of values. So the frequency list is just plain 1. Confidence level is 0.95. First result column, okay, this is where it's going to stick the result. It's just going to stick it in the next column over, namely B. So we enter B, left bracket, right bracket, and press OK. And here's what we end up with. Our confidence interval is 0.964, 1.84. That's because the lower limit is 0.964, 224, and the upper limit is 1.84429. Okay, let's construct a 95% confidence interval for the mean number of pets in the households of college students, but this time, suppose that you don't have the raw data, but have just the sample statistics. A sample of size 47 students yields a sample mean, x bar, of 1.40, and a sample standard deviation, s sub x, of 1.5. So again, no raw data, just these stats. This time, we choose Calculate, and then press the menu button. So we choose Statistics, and Confidence Intervals, T-interval like before. Except this time, we don't have the raw data. So we're not going to choose Data. Instead, we're going to choose Stats. So press Stats and then OK. And here's what we end up with. So we just fill in this chart. So X bar, sample mean is 1.4. S sub x, sample standard deviation, 1.5. N, the size of the sample is 47 pieces of data. Confidence level is 0.95. And we'll just stick the result in that second column, column B. B, left bracket, right bracket, and press OK. And we end up with this. So here's our confidence interval. The lower limit is 0.959, and the upper limit is 1.84. Notice that these are slightly different from what we saw earlier, and that's because we rounded so much. So our standard deviation is not really 1.5, and our sample mean is not really 1.4. Those have just been rounded significantly. By the way, according to the American Veterinary Medical Association, these are the most common pets. Almost half of American households have a dog. We used to have a dog, Lola. You know we've got cats. A little less than a third of U.S. households have those. Fish, we've had fish. They didn't last too long. 2.9%. Reptile, we had a bearded dragon at one point. 1.8% reptiles. Birds, 1.6% of households. Small mammals, we had Pip, the dwarf hamster. 1% of households have those. Rabbit, never had those. 0.7%. Horse, 0.5%. And poultry, we've got those in spades. 0.5%.